think the best way to answer that question, for me personally, would be to say that a woman's responsibility to society is to appeal to the sensitivity of most of the matters that society deals with, whether it be war, violence, drugs, poverty, illness. I think that men a lot of times are more concerned with getting a goal done and not really worrying about the after effects or how it will affect people emotionally. And I think women are just naturally more inclined to think about those things before making actions. And I think that that's something that we definitely need in our society. And I would argue that men and women should have the same responsibilities. I think that whatever it is that our society needs to get done doesn't matter whether you are a man or female. I think that as long as it gets done, that's what matters. So yes, a woman's responsibility may differ slightly, but I don't think it should.
I think that one of women's roles, is that what you said? Roles in society is to have a family, to take care of her family, to be there for her children and for her husband and whatnot. And men should provide for the family and be, I don't know. I don't think there's that much equality. That's what the question's asking.
I think a woman's responsibility to society is exactly the same as a man's. I think more important than anything, they just have to be a good person, which is taking care of themselves and other people, as well as just being a morally conscious person, who's trying to look out for the good of society. And while I don't personally think that should differ from men, I think it definitely does in some situations, which is definitely one of the biggest problems our society has right now. It's something just everyone has to get better at.
Even though it says all men and women are supposed to be created equal, we are not created equal, not even in the least bit. You see that in the corporate world. How many women do you see in charge in powerful positions? Not that many. Even though there has been an increase in women taking powerful positions, it still doesn't equal up. And I feel like this starts when we're younger. There's always limits for girls on what they can do, the opportunities available to them. And we might not look at it as that serious in the moment, but for instance, sports. Why can't girls play football? Why isn't there a girls football team? Why do guy sports like football, basketball gain more respect, but if a girl, the equivalent, a girls basketball team is not taking this seriously? So I feel like we have to start when we're younger in order for equality to actually happen. Provide the same opportunities for girls that are available for guys, and just give both equal amounts of respect.
Absolutely not. I think that on the surface it kind of appears that way because of the way we speak. But if you look at salaries, for example, I think there's a 70%, women are paid 70% of what men are paid, so I think that's a pretty obvious fact that shows that men and women are not in fact treated equal because it's the same types of jobs and everything, but they're paid so much less that it kind of shows that their work is valued at a lot less. But I do think that we're on our way.
I'd say that the most important issue regarding women in American society today would probably be women in the workplace, how they're viewed, how they're treated, and I guess in some cases how they're still paid. It seems to be unfair a lot of the times, and that seems to be something that we haven't been able to get away from.
I think the most important issue is the issue of how women carry themselves. I feel like in this day and age, women are dressing more provocatively, carrying themselves in a way that misrepresents the gender as a whole. And this is especially prominent in nightlife and where women go to have fun. And around that whole like dressing provocatively issue is this debate about whether a man is entitled to look or comment on how a woman dresses. And most people say, oh, just because I'm showing off my boobs or I'm showing off my butt or I'm showing off a lot of skin doesn't mean that you have the right to look. But in my opinion, as a female, I feel like if you don't want it on display, you don't want it to be brought to someone else's attention or people to recognize it because you think it's offensive, then you shouldn't be showing it. And until women like learn to carry themselves in a way that demands respect for the whole gender, like, we will never be equal.
I don't know if there's necessarily one concrete solution that would eliminate this problem altogether, but I think that maybe more like conversation about the topic could help, or like more awareness to the fact that it is a problem could help.
Well, I think one solution, I don't know if this is really a solution, but one way to sort of alleviate the problem is that everything needs to be brought out more into the open. I think a lot of the time there's a stigma against feminism, and there's this whole sort of thing against it, and that everyone's grouped into a certain sort of box if they believe a certain thing about how women should be treated or whatever. And I think that if all of it's brought out into the open and people aren't afraid to acknowledge that there is a disparity between the way men and women are treated in society, and women aren't afraid to do that, and aren't sort of threatened by being boxed into this box of feminism, then I think that we could definitely make progress in that.
I mean, I think that's a question that we've asked a lot about a lot of different people in this world. How can we equal the playing field? Specifically in third world countries, developing countries, where the reality of it is women just don't stand a chance compared to men. Places like India, Nepal, and third world developing countries in Africa. So I don't know if I have the answer for it. I think in America we're definitely making a lot of progress.
No, there's no solution. And I say that because of the already existing social structures that have been set for as long as time has been around. And I think it's sort of the same thing as racism, in a sense, because we've cut down on racism and we've passed laws to make things equal, but at the same time, racism has not gone away. Just as I don't think sexism will ever really go away. And it sounds kind of sad to say, but I don't think that our society has the wherewithal to actually change the problems that we're facing.